I started to play League like 7 years ago.
It's been a bit up and downs. I started on a team with some friends back in like 2 years ago.
Well, it first started when it was actually 7, and now I'm 17 because my brother introduced me to it, and that's why I play support because he was playing ADC. So.
Yeah, so we basically played NLC Div 2 for Thunder last split.
And I started to want to be a professional like 1 year and a half ago.
I actually started playing at 12-year-old in the East European Comic Con. I took part in a Fortnite tournament there, and I actually got second place. And I guess that's what intrigued me about esports.
And then I just grinded and try hard at solo queue.
And we ended third in the regular split, and then we kinda we struggled here and there in the playoffs, but at the end of the day, we were the best team, and we managed to, you know, promote.
1 year and like 2 years ago, I passed like the final exam when you're a student in France, and after you have to choose your study. But there was nothing that was very interesting for me.
Like seeing and hearing all the fans that are there and like cheering for somebody. The feeling you get, like even if you're the underdog, just like it's so nice.
A team in Benelux sought me out, and I played there for a split in the Pro Am.
So I was like, the only thing I really like to do is playing League of Legends, and I think I'm good enough to try to be professional. So I just started to go full time.
I saw that I'm good at League, so I wanted to do something with that. So I started to play in tournaments. I played in some Romanian tournaments and in some Romanian teams.
And then I took a break from comp, and then now I'm here. I mean, for myself, I'd like to show that I can compete with the known mid laners like Nida. He's overall a good player, but I'd say I compete with him pretty well.
I think Goob is the best ADC, hands down. Better than the native ADC, and you know, better than all the other ADCs right now. Yeah, I even messaged him on Twitter. You know, I said I'm a fan. He said thank you, good luck. You know, so me and him are kind of close right now.
Not gonna lie, I think I'm one of the best. Not a lot of people know me because it's my first year in professional. Before I used to play in like something that looks like LFL3, but it's not like a real division. And I think the level in France is a bit higher than in the other country. So even if the people don't know me, I think I already competed against a lot of good players. And that's why I think I'm one of the best top laner in the league, but maybe 1 or 2 of them can be my level, and I will look forward them to see what will happen.
And I think for the team, I'd say probably top 4, top 3.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm not actually going for the back-to-back. I'm actually going for the back-to-back-to-back first place trophy. Yeah, winner. Because yeah, I played the Sol Div 1 with the Poopy as well before NLC Div 2, and we won that as well.
I think with Vanier we didn't speak a lot about what we were looking for, but I think everyone wants to win as much as possible. And I think something who could look successful would be at least to do the playoff.
So honestly, I feel like we're strong enough to reach EU Masters. Like if we all put in the effort, I think we should be able to achieve that, and
yeah,
that's what I want to achieve with Ruddy.
I think that natives and I think it's Verdant have some pretty solid rosters. So I don't know if we can quite complete with that, but I hope so.
In the playoffs, it's up to us to see how far we can get. Hopefully EU Masters.
But I think we can aim for the highest. Like I said, there is no like unstoppable team, and I think we can make it to the top also. So yeah, I will be happy if we make it to the playoff, but I think we can make it to the first place.
Because I think we are capable, all 5 of us, all the players. The manager is inspiring us a lot as well, and the coach, he's helping us a lot. Like I think he helped us improve a lot already.
gradually like joining better leagues, right? So it was Seoul Div 1, then NLC Div 2, and now it's NLC Div 1, and, you know, like LEC next, who knows?
Hello everybody, and welcome back to the NLC 2023 summer season. My name is Ruddy, and last week we started off the second round robin of this season of the NLC. And we are going to have even more games for today, and I'm joined by three lovely gentlemen. Foxdrop, special guest of the week. Duckling, as well as Veteran down there right below me, pointing at you guys in a very, very menacing fashion. So first of all, guys, I want to start with you, Foxdrop. Welcome back to the show. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. Yeah, I'm excited to be back. It was we had some fun games before when I was here last, and it's nice to see how the teams have kind of solidified themselves in the standings and how those are trending. And we got a new patch today as well, so it's always exciting to see some things, new things come through. And
Duckling also, welcome back to the show for you, because I feel like it's been more time since you were here than the last time Foxdrop was here. So
I mean, I've managed to acquire this little bad boy from graduation since last I've been on here. I've had exams, I've had finals, I've been able to celebrate, of course. It's been fantastic, but now, you know, I'm excited to spend the day celebrating with watching some good League of Legends. I've missed being on here with you guys, and I just can't wait to get back into it. I'm so excited.
And last but not least, the Veteran. How are you doing?
What's up? I'm doing good. Excited for the new patch. Excited for the teams. I'm feeling that Ruddy get buffed on this patch, which is good because I'm betting against you on Ruddy. So I'm hoping that's true.
It's kind of why, because I was the original Ruddy believer. That's kind of why I had to lead. But let's head into the standings, because Foxdrop, you're talking about how specific teams have stabilized their position in those. Just a quick rundown here. At the top, Verdant 7-1, 6-2 on natives. Ruddy 5-3. You have Nord as the only 4-4 team, and you have two teams in Domino and Vanir at 3 and 5, and also Unique and 4-4 down there in 2 and 6. So, Veteran, last week 4-4 looked very good, a team that potentially could even start challenging for playoffs.
Yeah, they did, and especially with how many changes are happening around in the bottom part of the standings, and also with how the changes are going to hit some teams like Vanir, I do think 4-4 in a really good position to try to start moving their way up to potentially contesting that middle of the pack standings. Do I think they can contest a Nord that's looking resurgent? Not entirely sure about that, but 4-4, they are looking really good. Hopefully, it's not too little too late.
And with that, let's look at the matches that we have on lock for you guys today here. Verdant versus Ruddy, that is an absolute banger to start off the day with. Domino versus Unique, 4-4 versus Vanir, and then we close out the day with Natives versus Nord Esports, a potential fight for that third place in the standings here. And let's just kind of keep note here in the Verdant versus Ruddy matchup that is going to be our match of the week as well. And well, there's been some changes to the meta, Veteran. So kind of talk us through why this is important for this matchup specifically.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the things that made it unviable to just slam down the melee champion, something that Ruddy would ignore anyway, have made it much more viable to do so. So I think it's a good meta for MB carry. I think you have a Nunu one-trick over there in the form of Zapdo, who loves these hard ganking junglers. Rel is now in the meta. We've skipped that Ivan PTA patch, so you don't have to learn anything like that. But the kind of things you want to play, Zapdo generally plays outside of the Nidalee, which I think could affect the game on the other side of Verdant.
Yeah, and let's go to the second match of the day here. That's going to be Unique versus Domino, with a new AD carry swapping in to the Domino bot lane. But when I say new AD carry, Dockling, he's not quite new to the NLC.
Yeah, exactly right. Blink, he started on 4th wall. He was actually doing all right, but he has been benched from that organization. Blink, and you miss it, and now he's on Domino, right? Coming back into the league. I'm excited to see how he will perform here under the new setup. 2X's has been thrown on the bench. Someone who I thought, did show the level of NLC Div 1, but I'm excited to see where Blink will now take them if they will reach a new peak, because I do believe in this Domino roster. And with them being on a 3-game loss streak, I understand why they are now deciding to, pull on some strings to see if they can get back into that playoffs race.
Yeah, and Foxtrot, while I did force Veteran to learn the names of the Aphelios guns, I'm going to let you talk us through Vanir versus 4th wall, because a very big talking point here is going to be the Aphelios nerf impacting the likes of Liam Cole specifically.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Whenever you nerf Aphelios, it's always going to affect the meta a fair amount, because he's just one of these champions that is a staple in professional play. And so if you find players that like picking him, then these kind of patches are a godsend, because, to be honest, Aphelios tends to be the harbinger of boring metas. Maybe that's just my opinion. I don't know, but it's nice when he gets put down a little bit, so we can see a little bit of change. And in this matchup as well, it should affect these teams more than the others.
And the final match is going to be Nord versus Natives here, and Stefan has been kind of taking a lot of liking to playing the Kindred Veteran, but that has been taken down a peg a little bit. Nidalee has received some buffs. Does that have an impact on the way Stefan wants to play the game, for example, for Natives?
I mean, if you want to talk about farming junglers, if you want to talk about carry junglers, Nidalee was the go-to by everyone for absolutely ages, despite the fact that no one could hit a single spear on her. If he can hit a spear, then this is a really, really good patch for Verdant to play. The issue there, obviously, is these auto-prio lanes of Nico, of the Annie, of these kinds of things that work really, really well with something like that. They're less likely to be played now, but whereas that would impact the Kindred lane, that impacts less a Nidalee lane, because Nidalee would love it if you overload AD in mid and in top. And Niter, back in the day, people forget about it now because he's known as a good mage player. Back in the day, he was a big Yasuo player in EU West, so it is entirely possible he goes back towards these mini champs as well. That's just even better for Nidalee, so long as you can play super aggressive with it.
Yeah, I kind of aggressive. What we've seen primarily from Vladdy has been like a mix of a Seer as well as Yasuo, I believe he's played a couple of times as well in that Natives mid lane, so that's going to be fun to see how that's going to impact that. But, guys, as Veteran has been always very vocal about on Twitter, let's look at the predictions, because he is out for blood this week. Specifically, he's coming for me, because, well, it's me and it's Middlecott at the top of the standings. And when you look at that, I am the only 4th wall believer this week, today, I would say, so that's going to be a fun one for sure.
It does not fill me with hope that Hiprain, a man who is intending to get as many wrong picks as possible, has matched my 2 picks at the bottom there. That doesn't quite fill me with hope here, to be honest.
But I mean, then again, Middlecut has done the same thing, so that kind of upweighs because he's doing quite well. I'm more so worried for Unique here, right? It's only me and Hipprint on that train, and seeing where we're both in the standings, it doesn't bode well for the 5-game loss streak to turn around today.
No, that's the big thing, right? Breaking that loss streak is going to be such a pivotal thing for that team, veteran.
It's true, and I also just want to say, because there's someone here who can't necessarily talk about this, right? But Foxtrot, mate, you were talking about the Aphelios nerfs. If I was to tell you that the Vanir AD carry has gotten all of his wins on Aphelios and has never won with anything else, would you think we're all extremely stupid to be betting on Vanir in this setup? Or
he's gonna pick it anyway. He's gonna slam it down, and be like, "Nerfs be damned." I'm playing it anyway. It's there is still value in a comfort pick despite the nerfs, right? But yeah, it's looking kind of tough, I guess, if you're fourth. But let's not forget, right? Let's not forget, as far as the standings are concerned, so many teams are like within 1 game of each other. Like, it's actually insane how close it still is in the NLC. Like, sure, fourth wheel kind of struggling at 2 and 6, but Vanir aren't exactly doing much better, right? They're 3 and 5, and fourth wheel were looking pretty good last week. So, yeah, it's certainly not without the realms possibility that fourth wheel could pull out an upset here. Maybe Wheater's like 5-head, the only fourth wheel prediction.
I mean, that would be wild, right? Everyone just try to catch me, and then I just run away from that single pick. That would be amazing, right? So again, little small note for that matchup specifically. We're going to talk about it a little bit later when we get to the game. They're not playing with Faye this week in top lane. That's something that we also need to kind of point out. So they're back to playing with Malto for this week, which means that maybe that's why we saw all of the Vanir picks come through. That's just all I want to say. But I have faith in Malto, and I also have faith in you, Duckling, to take us into the game here. Picks and bans will be starting very shortly.
Yeah, I'm very excited to get the show on the road. Verdant versus Ruddy. That is a real grudge match, you could say, not only on the Rift, but also on social media. Obviously, there was a bit of banter between the two teams. I think it was Thrive by Moaning was the hashtag started by Ruddy, and hashtag Ruddy Down has been started or whatever I saw on Twitter today, I think.
Ruddy Down.
I'm excited to see what happens. I think both these teams are doing a good job in putting out content for the league. And, they're also both near the top of the standings, and if Ruddy wants to catch up and try and see if they can get themselves a top 2 spot, they need to take this game off Verdant, really.
So, is that the big thing here? So is this because, we were talking for a while that Ruddy was, looking primed almost to take home the first place, and then they kind of had a bit of a stumble. Now, do you think that, Veteran, that's something that we're going to see Ruddy come for the crown?
I mean, Ruddy actually began 0-2, right, on the very, very first week, and then they found their ability to get interesting picks in their draft and really throw the enemy off. There's no way that they scrimmed against anything.
That's very funny to say interesting picks, because picks and bans starting now.
Oh, nice. And hopefully, because we switched patch, we're going to see some more of them today. They're not letting NV Carry slam the Yasuo, so that's a shame.
I mean,
Nico's still banned. That's a bit surprising, don't you think? Because she was kind of guided on this patch. Like, her ulti's been changed. So the Pop Blossom and the I don't know the names. I'm just trying to
say RQW. I have no idea. I just say QW.
Yeah,
Only Duckling needs to memorize these things. All right, we don't have to do that. Just say QW. The Q's being nerfed to the ground. That was a huge part of the trading ability. Yeah, Ivan Ban's interesting.
Yeah, because obviously he was very strong 1 patch ago. I'm wondering, maybe these teams just haven't read the patch notes yet and realized we're on 13-13. Regardless, though, straight into the Sire AD carry. Keeping our eyes open, will the Aphelios still be picked despite the nerves, or will we, divert our AD carry meta towards something more interesting, you could say?
I mean, Gooby's never been a staunch Aphelios main. I actually consider Ezreal as a champion whenever I think about Gooby. So I don't think he's going to be massively hit by it. It's not even necessarily something I think about doing here. This feels like a Taxa champ for sure. We normally see Taxa on stuff like Poppy, on stuff like Sejuani in particular. Every Taxa I think of in my head, I think that. I also do think of Olaf from years and years ago, but less so common now. This fits in the mold of a ganking jungler that facilitates his lanes, and also someone you could do very, very funny steals with. And this, if it isn't just a hover, could be a really big part of a heavy all-in composition. Okay, Verdant's identity is very,
We're going
very clear.
dogpiling.
Yeah.
We're going dogpiling in this game. I love that. But this could. I'll ask you a question, Veteran, as far as what the potential flexibility of this role pick is, because I know obviously as a jungler, it got changed. It's being buffed, like jungle ratios and stuff like that. Like, he's very good as a jungler, and that's what we default to, saying that it's probably going to be a Taxa pick. But would you do you think there's a chance that Venom could pick it in the bot lane to kind of throw a spanner in the draft?
I mean, definitely, especially because this is 13-13, so it's no longer the big static Shiv Kai'Sa that we were seeing picked into mid lane before. So if this is a Kai'Sa bot lane, Rel paired with the Kai'Sa in that bot lane will be insanely sick on 6. But you do want a champion that does a lot level 1, and whereas Kai'Sa's a really good level 2 spike, level 1 not so much. When both teams are in the minion wave like that, unless you get some real cheese in like Tri-Bush or all the way up on the 3rd bush level 1, it's difficult to make the Rel as effective as it would be if another champion that, wants to, is fine being within that minion wave or even being near it and won't lose out the power. Oh, but it's going to be Relbot.
Yeah, and the Relbot, I actually really like that. Having played a lot of Relbot myself, she is still very strong despite the damage nerfs. As you say, it could have been a good Texas champ in the jungle, but I think Ventil, he's a kind of guy who likes this kind of playstyle on the very lane-oriented support you can put on the Rel if you just play for lane. I really like this. I actually really like this, but I do think Ruddy with the Saya Rakan have gone with something more standard, more traditional, built Dion as well. This is a stock standard composition, easy to execute. So I like what Ruddy's going on, but I like the excitement of the Verdant draft at the moment.
It's just always funny to see a Nunu ban. Obviously, Zapdo, massive solo queue Nunu player. I actually, right now, yes, they're interesting picks on Verdant, but it is all heavy on engage. And with the Sejuani, you're going to see something we talked about in the pre-game, which is Nita's tendency to go into these melee champions as well. Sejuani fits really well with that, and those melee champions inevitably fit with an all-in composition. But what have Ruddy picked versus an all-in composition? They've picked Disengage. It was a Disengage Zion the first pick. Rakan pairs really well with Zion, basically makes it a fortress post 6. Ornn is a very difficult champion to dive and make super aggressive plays on. Ruddy do have a champion to disengage, and Verdant have picked into that. They saw Zaya as the first pick. They must know it's easy for Ruddy to move into a full disengage composition.
I think something that's important to note as well, whenever you're looking at picks and ban in League of Legends, is just the easy execution. Like, how easy is it for your team to pilot your team comp, because it's all well and good us talking about like min-maxing and really like the in-depth mechanics of what champions and how they play into the opposing champions, but Zyrakan, Ornn, does it get easier than that when you're slapping down your first 3 picks? Like, it's like such an easy synergistic bot lane to play. It's not complicated whatsoever. It's versatile when it comes to that, like self-peel and roaming and stuff. And this is where it's going to get interesting here. I feel like Verdant's just going to skill check Ruddy. That when I look at this draft, this is how I feel. Like, I think Nile is one of if not the best top lanes we have in the NLC, and a Fiora into a tank matchup, like, he could absolutely run away with this game. Not to mention that synergy you get with Sejuani. I know it's all about bot meta right now, but holy crap, if Sejuani goes anywhere near this Fiora and the passive you can stack, the Sejuani passive you can stack, those ganks are going to be so free. And the Nocturne slapping down here for Zapdo. It's not Nunu, but it does begin with the same letter. And definitely throwing a bit of something interesting here in this team.
Oh, do it. Do it. It's actually such a good scenario. It's a good scenario, but the problem is you don't know what the enemy's going to pick. If they pick the LeBlanc, then you counter it with the mouse. If they pick the Echo, you counter it with the mouse. Like, if you assume the enemy's going to go some kind of melee mid, then going Malzahar here works into all of the ranges on the opponents. But did that get locked? Is it the Echo?
That is locked. That is an Echo.
That's
I
locked.
can't remember.
That is an Echo.
I've seen an Echo in competitive play.
Yeah,
Has he recently,
they also...
risen in popularity, or is it just like completely out of left field?
MV Carry needs a champion that can potentially match sides later on, needs a champion that can work effectively against all-in, and Echo is both of those. Crucial thing on the Nocturne here, you have a full split push composition from Verdant, but Nocturne, like, try extending over in lane solo against a Nocturne that can just press R and B on you at any point. It actually makes it very difficult to play out those situations, and then if you group, you are into, like Foxdrop says, a really easy press R to disengage composition. What Verdant have to do is try to make picks in the in-betweens. If they can make picks in jungle while splitting the map, rather than try to go for these like freeway sieges, then they negate the Nocturne pick and they could maybe catch Ruddy out before they group. But if these teams group, you have to think that's entirely in favor of Ruddy.
I am very intrigued, especially by the LeBlanc pick, right? We talked a bit about this before we went on air, with the static shift changes, where she's just going to fall out of the meta and we won't see her again, but still being locked in here kind of signals we're going back to the one-shotty LeBlanc build, full AP, just trying to burst down the important target. Or are you still trying to somewhat force the static shift for more split push and side lane pressure? What are we thinking about this?
That is a very good question, because if there's one thing that pro players are, okay, it's they are not very good at reading patch notes and they're stubborn, right? So if they've got a feel for this LeBlanc, they've got a feel for the static shift LeBlanc, that, oh yeah, it's really great, it's cool, we really love how it works in the side lane. I would not be surprised to see it being slapped down again. Obviously, I don't think that's what's going to happen here, to be honest. Like, I think that really is just dead in the water, and shouldn't be something that they try and go for. But who knows? Like, honestly, who knows with League of Legends pro players? So we'll see what Knight decides to do on that LeBlanc.
I'd be surprised if it was static shift purely because LeBlanc was a very known Echo counter back in the day. It's probably Echo's hardest matchup straight up on the normal burst build. Not because you auto him to death, but because you just auto W trade perma and he can't really do anything about it. The issue here, though, is that it's LeBlanc with Sejuani, so Echo just goes Mercs treads and he's invincible. So whereas I like the LeBlanc as a one-on-one, I ultimately agree with Foxdrop. Players are stupid. If you think about this a bit more through, you realise this might not be the best time to do the LeBlanc here. Maybe we could have gone for one of the AD counters for Echo and maybe something more synergy of such.
You really have a way with the words, veteran. It was beautiful. Players are stupid. That's what we took away from that point.
It's true.
Regardless, though, yeah, I'm really excited for this. So it seems like it's more for the good matchup, and I really like the thought process behind that for Verdant, because I really do rate Knight as laning phase in general. That's what we have seen him been the strongest, gaining these 20-30 CS leads, then taking that lead when the laning phase ends and applying that pressure elsewhere on the map. So happy to see him go for something more easy to execute in the lane, you could say, but I do agree with the 2v2 point as well. You know, buying Merchants is a very valuable item all of a sudden. But I want to bring it back to the junglers again, because Foxtrap, you mentioned the bot lane meta, but you also mentioned how strong Sejuani and the Fiora will be if they pair together. Where do you think Tacto will be spending his time? Will he try and get Nila ahead here on the Fiora, or will he play towards the bot-centric meta?
I think, considering it is Verdant and you're in the NLC, the win condition here is like if Nila can just run over the game against Ornn, like it's over, like straight up over. But it's not about top lane; it's about bot lane so far early. Gooby's taking so much damage. Really good trade there. Zyra Khan doing Zyra Khan things already at level 1. What do we say about that ease of execution? Right, you just press a button and you win, and there it is. They've won the level 1.
So ease of execution for the rest of the laning phase is a little bit harder, because if you have to start with W on the Rakan, you actually lose a lot of laning phase power. A lot of that comes from your ability to just Q-poke perma and then get all of your sustain back. So you have to win a trade like that extremely hard. You can actually see Rel's portrait is now on top of Rakan again. Rakan's gone in, but even though I see the HP bars going down, can't quite see anything else. I love this Nala top lane, by the way. Like, you mentioned Nala looking like one of the best top laners. On split pushers, absolutely. This guy is like the split pusher in the NLC. We were hoping Verdant were going to play full around him. That hasn't really been the case, but this game feels a lot more like the Verdant that we thought we were going to see.
Yeah, and I'm yet again just stumbling over Nida's build here again. Going the fleet footwork, building the AD early on, signals static shift, and just to those who aren't aware, the static shift energized minion damage previously had 125% AP ratio. This patch, it has been removed to 0. No AP ratio on energized minion damage. It does still scale somewhat with AP on champion damage, so it will still deal damage in the 1v1s and so on, but the wave clear is heavily nerfed by going this build path. Regardless, bringing it back to the bot lane point, I want to mention in terms of the summoners, Scooby, I think he thought he had heal maybe, but he did end up popping the ghost in that exchange, so it was, you know, a very, very favorable trade for Ruddy, getting a 1-for-1 in the summoner exchange and forcing Gooby to already pop his potion.
Yeah, 100%. Honestly, I'm wondering now if we're actually on 13-13, because you make a really good point about the static shift. The thing about the AP ratio on minions that a lot of people may not realize is if you went Dark Seal and Static Shiv, you were already one-shotting the minion wave. You didn't have to go a full AP item for that. You didn't have to go full Night Stalker for that. Just the Dark Seal. Now, there's no real incentive to pair the AP with it outside of your ability to impact team fights. So if you just want to impact team fights, you go for the full AP build anyway. It was never very strong in that situation in the first place. So I'm wondering, genuinely I'm wondering if the players are on 13-13 right now. But yeah, like interesting to see how this plays out. It does, on one step though, it does make Merc Treads less viable than Echo. So maybe actually Naito is completely 9-heading it here.
Love that. He was listening. He was listening to what you were saying. Or maybe he just got like instant regret.
You could be in a lot of trouble if Texas decides to go in now, just able to dash away with the extended range. Looked like Verdant might have wanted to force the play there, but unable to. They haven't been performing too well. Obviously kept even in CS, but Ruby's been forced to use 3 pots already, traded down to half HP. Both junglers in the vicinity could go for something, just seems to try and shove the wave early on.
And that's not necessarily like poor play by Verdant. Like, short of a straight level 1 cheese from Verdant, this lane was always going to go in favor of Toast and Puri on that Zyra Khan. What you want to do as Kai'Sa is you want to chill, you want to relax, alright, have a break, have a Kit Kat, and then on level 6, press R at some point and the enemy just evaporates. And that's basically how you want to play out this lane. So Gooby, he's chilling. He is not that far behind in CS. Yes, they took some bad trades early, and it could have been nice if they could have gotten something level 1, but they didn't, and it's not the end of the world. They'll still have really strong skirmishing power. I feel like any 2v2, any 3v3 post 6 will still be won by Verdant. Ruddy can survive them, but it's going to be in the real 5-on-5s where Ruddy shines.
So that's really what we're waiting for, the full-on 5v5s. If you are already fan, looking over towards Nila again in the top lane, trying to see how much of a lead he's managing to build up for himself here so far. So good, you could say the CS is looking good. That's a big wave he's collecting at the moment as well. Slowly but surely, we're getting ever so slightly closer towards the level 6s as well. The Drake has spawned early on. You mentioned the strength in the Ruddy 2v2 early on in the bot lane as well. Could we maybe try and see them use that to snowball into an early Drake?
I want to see this Nala advantage in top really get extended here. Oh my goodness, what's going on?
Oh, that's a great chain. But with Pew being there as well, disengage very quickly coming through from the side of Ruddy.
Yep, and I mean, Echo does have a good laning phase, lane state for himself, right? He has the R, he isn't about to be one-shot. He has managed to get, from that trade, the lane coming back into him. So he's somewhat immune from Zap, though, just... somewhat immune from Taxa, I apologize, just going in on his face here for a bit. But, if he wants to play the game like that, then Verdant are the ones who are going to have priority on control over this jungle. They're the ones that are going to be able to play for it. And Ruddy, they may only be able to sit there and watch. They have to fight if they want to get this back.
Yeah, they're going to do that as well. This crab control is actually quite important as well at this point. If Ruddy were going to go for this dragon, then having information could be crucial for Verdant, but I don't think they'll try and contest this one. Taxa
and no
looks like he is actually going to jump in. Yeah, we've got LeBlanc on the mid prior as well. Ruddy will leave it alone. I do think like securing that crab was quite important. If you have zero information in that river, then it becomes a lot harder for you to try and stop that from going down. But all good there for Verdant. Just putting a bit of a pause button on this early game where Ruddy should have the advantage from that bot side gathered with the Zyra Khan as they close in on those ultimates being available and that all-in being ever so close here, especially as Zapdo on that Nocturne will be hitting his Paranoia, his ulti, and he'll be able to fly in and they'll really be able to make something happen. That is a massive cursor in comparison to the rest of the characters on screen. Like, holy moly. Whoever's observing is overcompensating for something for sure.
That's brutal actually. That's a rough one. He was already caught up by the mistake and then you... Absolutely brutal. Regardless though, I do want to try and drag our conversation more towards the top side. With Herald spawning in just 15 seconds, we've seen so much focus on the bot lane so far, but I think it's about time the junglers seem to recognize the top laner's existence. Or maybe I'm wrong, because Taxa, still finding himself on the bottom side, will be spotted out by the ward though. Herald could be quickly started up here. Maybe Nida looks to be caught out by Ruddy. Envy carry? It's a bit of damage on, but obviously you're LeBlanc, you're very safe.
Yep, I mean, like, the big thing about that Scuttle take on bot lane as well is that MV carry gave up that mid prio so he could get some minions so he could lose less, not so he could be winning the lane. Look at the state of that lane right now. Look how far ahead Niter is, and that's with Echo and the map buying time for him. The classic LeBlanc counter coming out again, although with a static Shiv build that may make it a bit less viable in those team fights later on, which, as we've already said, Ruddy will almost definitely win.
It's interesting to see Niter opt into the static Shiv, not just because it's 13-13 and it's not as good right now, but he's already got an incredibly strong split push presence on his team in Nila, right, in that Fiora. And you look at that, how it's going on right now, 85 CS to 44. Insane, but here's the diving bar.
Yeah, Paranoia already popped, but it looks to be a very bad one for Septo. First blood over to Verdant. In the 3v2 scenario, they are faltering this dive heavily. Someone has used, but it doesn't matter. Ruddy could lose even more here. Is down. Goes Pew. That's 2 kills into the hands of Verdant, and they are on the board with the counter move on the game.
We said Verdant were the engage and Ruddy were the disengage, but Ruddy are the ones that go for the first aggressive engage dive of the game. And they don't have the same tools that Verdant do to turn that around. Verdant can just instantly burst down the Nocturne, turn it into a 2v2 under their turret, and suddenly they have all of the advantages. That's not how Ruddy should be looking to play this composition, and they've been summarily punished for it.
What were they thinking there, though? Like, a Nocturne engage on the dive? Like, that Verdant were on full HP, under tower, minions there as well. Did they... Taxa could have been there as well. Like, that just seemed like a ridiculous play. I don't know what they were trying to overforce there. Like, absolutely hideously done. Like, Nocturne is not that kind of champion. Like, yeah, you can get some good engages from some really wacky angles and really far away, because that's just, that is Nocturne's niche, but that is not how you do it. And my goodness, this game has gotten off to a terrible start here for Ruddy. Like, topside was already mega doomed, and now they've doomed bot. Yeah, it's not good. Taxa here is looking to make that impact in top as well. Like, it's all over here.
Yeah, I mean, he's just dead here. He's caught out. Nice play by Verdant. They will now put down the Herald as well. That's maybe, what, 3-4 plays. It's not even a full turn into Nila, who's already pretty much almost double the CS of Shihan. This game
4,000 gold lead. 4,000, man.
Within a couple of minutes.
10 minutes. It's illegal. It's absolutely illegal. Straight up, like, I just don't know. It's like such a good. A lot of that gold will be on the top side. Like, if we want to take a look at the positives, I guess, well, it's not really a positive at all, is it? It just sucks. It just really sucks here if you're Ruddy. This is a terrible start. If this is a scrim, it would be alt F forward and you go next, like that 100%. This one is not looking too hot right here, and yeah, Knight is also brilliant mid with like 40 CS lead there too. It's really tough here for Ruddy. They've dug themselves into a pretty deep hole, and it's going to be hard for them to get out.
Yeah, I'll give some copium here. Like, yes, the Fiora is one of the hard... Like, they have 2 ridiculously hard countering Sir lanes, and Ruddy knew this going into the draft, that they were going to end up with these kinds of lane states. They were expecting 2 losing lanes and a Fortress lane, and they want to make those comebacks on those tier 3s, because eventually, no matter how good you are, you will have to team fight that Ruddy team, and you don't make Ornn any less useful by killing him once.
He wants to gang down bot lane. He hasn't his buddy, but eyes on the top lane. Paranoia coming through. Great flag from Nila to get away from the Ornn. Horn will still be fear. Did he forget to use the fear?
Nah,
he used the fear and then he
out of it.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's not a mistake. That's just a nice outplay by Nila, who managed to get out of a 1v2 situation.
Oof. Yeah, and this Taxa gang bot did absolutely nothing, which was well read there by Ruddy, and well evaded too. Oh, but Gooby could be caught here.
A good counter engage actually. Gooby's so low, does have the ultimate available. Killer Instinct to get out to safety. Ruddy unable to find their first kill of the game still. First straight going over into the hands of Verdant. Nice move here by Ruddy, but just not quite enough to get the kill.
But this wasn't ult for ult, which is very massive, because the big thing about this matchup is that Kai'Sa ult timing comes up 10 seconds after Desire ult timing, well, the other way around actually. So if it was ult for ult there, it would have been really good for Verdant. As is, Ruddy have the option to make a play on next, and Nocturne is bot side.
He's got no ult though. Nocturne without ulti is really not a threat, right? Verdant are very confident playing in this situation, and yeah, Taxa's hovering. He's got his ultimate up now as well. Some really juicy targets here in this bot side. You have to feel like this is a dive waiting to happen, and Ruddy needs to have a response if it's gonna fall.
Oh, that's clean dash. Forces the cleanse. Featherstorm still available. Could look to try and get something. No, unable to get a root down. Does survive, but it comes at a price with Knight now rotating down as well. Safety is not yet secure from Ruddy, but as they back away, it looks to be some plates given up. Snyder will just be there to facilitate the plates being taken.
Yeah, but Zapdo peeled off of Pugs in towards his jungle, further towards mid lane. He was not leaning on bot side. You have to think he was leaning to bot side though. With Gooby's HP there was definitely much more room for Ruddy to play forward off of that cleanse, and it could have maybe turned into something. but the small opportunities Ruddy have in the early, they're not taking advantage of. Verdant are taking advantage of all the massive opportunities that they have from draft.
I mean, that's so rough for Shihan. He can't even defend his own turret.
5 plates on Nila.
Yeah, that's 5 plates on Nila. He's gotten the kill as well. He's already at 1 item. He's 10 CS a minute. Yeah, wow.
Yeah, it's just so terribly, hideously doomed from Ruddy at this point. Like, how do you stabilize from this position of this solo gap right now? Like, it's so insane how much map control you get when your mid lane alone is winning, but now that you've got Fiora, who's like on the way to flame horizoning his opponent in the one, well, not even the 1v1, he's been ganked. So I guess Tax to go top with the Herald, actually. Yeah,
looking for the
fair.
engage. There's no ult, no cleanse on Toast. They could be in a lot of trouble here. Nida coming down as well. Good root on 3. Flash as well. Nida though could look to follow. Still has the ult available. Auto attack will do it. The static shift, despite the nerfs, get the kill. And Toast's best efforts were not enough. He did end up getting Toast in the end.
Not nerfed on champions though, so Naito with the correct build for this exact situation that they definitely knew was coming from draft.
Yeah, of course it is.
Right-clicking champions for the last tier is exactly. It is quite oppressive, right? Having some more control in the lane. Like, I know it is nerfed, but it still does something, I guess. And like, it is what is really underrated, I would say, about the static shiv. Like, obviously everyone was talking about the effect, right? The shiv effect, the lightning effect, that just one-shot minion waves. It was gross, hideous stuff on AP champions. That did get nerfed, that did get changed. But what I feel like was really underappreciated was the fact that it builds its AD and crit on these ranged champions. Like, you're essentially what everyone hates about top lane Kennen. You're bringing that into the mid lane on a champion like LeBlanc, right? When Kennen starts like Doran's blade and just right clicks you and gets all that disgusting trade off. Like, it's so hard to lane when you're just getting harassed with autos constantly, and like sometimes every 5th auto attack's critting you as well. Like, it's really hard to play against, and that's not even taking into consideration the lightning charge here. Is that don't envy carry that they're looking to try and make a play, try and turn something around.
Nida, he fends himself in the 1v2. Meanwhile, envy carry taken down to half HP here on the engage, has to back off Septo. Flash available, ward needed as Nida dashes forward. It's the static shift, baby. That's all Nida needs. And now the rest of Verdant are collapsing in this game. The casket is open. They just need to kick Ruddy down one more time to secure this win. You have to feel this dive could really be the end all be all. The minion wave though, luckily denying Shelly's engage underneath the turret, so they'll just dance around for a couple moments more. Shihan has teleported in to try and help his team in this situation.
Here we go.
Oh, I don't know what to say. There it goes. The ultimate gets blown. Very good re-engage potentially.
Nice.
Could be enough. They get Guppy early on, but they'll lose everyone else. You have to feel Nila full HP just ripping up the fight. They've got one back. They've gotten on the board, but that's all Ruddy will be this game, because they can take that one kill and then they can head home with the loss.
Mate, more than a loss. This is a kick in the nads. This game, you're 3rd in the league at this point. If you're Ruddy, you're 5 and 3. Like, you kind of found your foot. You started off terrible, and you had a good showing, and you brought yourself back up in the standings. And this game, you just, my god, 9,000 difference, 9,000 gold at 17 minutes. It's so. Like, this has not just been a victory for Verdant. I haven't even won yet, but I think we can comfortably say this one is donezo and dusted. But not just donezo and dusted. It's a statement here from Verdant. Like, this is ridiculous stuff right here. Their 5-win streak, looking to extend that, going to 8. I know it says they're 6-1, but they're actually 7-1 so far here in the standings. Like, these guys are just looking absolutely dominant. It's really, really gross stuff. And here we go. Can Ruddy change things around? No. Like, you can't catch him.
Just dashes the screen away all of a sudden, and then you're really in a bad situation, because while that was going on, you lose a Drake on the bot side. Your recall now be cancelled as well. Ay.
It's an if though. It's an if Verdant actually do play out the map. Very typically 1-3-1s don't end up getting played out properly. Very few teams are able to do it, even on an NLC level. It's not like the game is completely over yet. They did just turn their 7k gold lead into a 9k gold lead, and they look almost unstoppable on sides. But even there, without their AD carry, their main source of damage, Ruddy were able to trade a kill back. So it's not like Verdant are going to be completely invincible. It is still, they have a much harder composition to play out map-wise. if they're allowed to just individually one-on-one and skirmish their opponents, yes, they will very cleanly win this. But that's a big if. Ruddy have to give them that opportunity. Ruddy can just say, alright, we'll allow you to extend that 9k gold lead to maybe even like a 10k gold lead. But when it gets to the tier 3s, we still have a lot of utility. And if you guys can't even use your abilities, we don't really think that that gold lead matters as much. We've seen wilder comebacks, right? We've seen wilder comebacks. And I'm still looking at a full team fight composition, right? With a very good mix of damage.
I have a question for you, veteran.
Yeah.
Does it make you dizzy? Huffing all that copium.
Damn.
I'm trying to extend the cast as long as humanly possible, right? But like genuinely, genuinely, if a team was to ever come back at this point, it would be a 5-on-5 team against a full split push team, right?
Yeah, I mean,
especially a
you're
full
right.
split push team that hasn't met the patch notes.
It can theoretically happen. We have seen SKT versus EDG 2017 happen before, right? It could happen again. There was also Ricardo on the team as well back then. You know, could find the all-in that's needed. Turn the fight around. I mean, maybe, right? But we are really, really grasping at straws here because at the moment, Verdant, they're playing it safe. They're pushing down on the turrets. They have to find the wombo combo, and it has to be perfect. This could be it. But at the beginning, it doesn't really look like it, though. They're going on towards Scooby, but a good flash away gets him out to safety. Now Envy carries the target for Verdant as they look to lock him down. Sheehan falls in the front line. Here comes Scooby, and he will dash right in for the kill with the killer instinct. Finds it onto Envy carry. Will look for Toast as well, who heads up into the Feather Storm. And that's enough to save his own life, but it really felt like the final team fight with Baron now on the cards as well. Verdant will take it, no contestation.
Yeah, if you're not even willing to give up the tier 2, then you're just going to opt into losing fights. The longer the game goes on for, the better it should be for Ruddy. But if you're trying to take a fight now, you're just making the game faster, and you're making your eventual loss a lot quicker.
Yeah, not a great fight there, unfortunately. I mean, Ruddy with the right idea, I guess, trying to force the engage with the Ornn somewhat catching Gooby, like he did have to flash over the wall. But at this situation, like, you're just so far behind as far as money goes. Like, you have to find the absolute perfect fight. And to be honest, I'm not really sure such a thing exists anymore in this game. We are now, what's that, 14k difference here in gold totals. It's just growing and growing. Steadily, surely, not even slowly but surely, just rapidly but surely, it is growing, and it's becoming harder here for Ruddy to find that comeback. Do you want to try and find those picks, I guess, like with the Ornn and the Nocturne combination? The problem is, like, you absolutely can't do it to Nile. You have to find someone else isolated. Maybe you can find Nita, maybe, but it's a lot of ifs and buffs, and it's going to be very difficult for Ruddy to find that window.
I really think you're more likely to kill Nilla than Nita here, by the way. I think Nita's immense range on his dashes is going to be a much harder thing for you to compensate for than a no Conqueror Fiora.
But I think that then again, you know, it is a Hullbreaker Fiora, so as long as she's alone, she should be fine, unless it's a 5v1 PU. Can't quite find the engage, flash to follow. Nila dashing around. Oh, that's a nice play. Toaster, flex forward as well. They will get it. You're proven right, veteran. You are proven right. As Nida will come in to watch his teammate die. In the meantime, though, the base looks to be cracked open here by Verdant as they'll open up the mid lane. Who got the kill in the end? That was Septo, not quite the best target, but it's a kill nonetheless. Big shutdown. And Envy carry able to get the Chrono Break out to safety. As the fight could still go on here, 4v5 in favor of Ruddy, but they're pretty low after taking down Nila in the top side, so they go back to their base and regroup.
The big thing that a lot of the current nerfs have done is that they've gotten rid of point-and-click champions, not just lane bully champions, and LeBlanc is generally countered by those kinds of champions. The only thing that I can see on the team that has the capacity to potentially deal with LeBlanc is Zapdo on that Nocturne, so that is a decent place to put your gold, but the time you had to split the map and trade, it's over.
Oh yeah, Ruddy want this fight. They really do. Envy has TP'd in on the back. They want Gooby, but he's flying into the front line instead to find himself the double kill. Could look for even more. Toaster goes up into the air. Gooby taken down in the end, but Texa, he's too tanky, he's too strong. And
Niter in the
coming
base.
in to add some assistance. This surely will be game. Niter taking down the Nexus turret. I liked how Ruddy fought in the end to try and find a way back in, but the door was already closed in their face. It will be Verdant who pick up that 8th victory of the split out of 9 possible, and they are looking to dominate the NLC yet again.
The moral of the story is, if you are 17k gold ahead, you can build whatever you goddamn want.
They were 17 gold ahead where they bought the Shiv, to be fair, but clearly that's the conclusion. Shiv's still OP. There it is. You saw it right there. That 1 game sample size. Shiv is disgusting.
Yeah, my friend who decided to play Shiv LeBlanc in ARAM yesterday is a true genius. Evident by this game right now. Right, but I mean, that was a game that we got to see some of the newer things, right, that come into the patch here, right? We got to see Kaiser, a pick that we haven't we barely saw on 13-11, right? Come in a bit more of an exciting AD carry, I'd say, compared to the Aphelios Duckling.
Yeah, this was a very exciting game. I love the action. I love the Kaiser. I think it worked well. Ruddy were able to get their hands on it a couple times, but it was tricky to catch, especially with Gooby's great use of Killer Instinct, I will say. If we're talking MVP candidates, I think... I mean, Nila just absolutely crushed this lane, but he had such an easy lane as well. We could give it to Nida. I know Foxtrap has highlighted him in our little discussion here, but I don't know if I can give it to him simply due to the fact that he still bought the static shift, but he proved us wrong. I guess it did work. It still worked. And it did look really good. Still cleared the waves well, so maybe we could just give it to Nida.
Did it clear waves? I feel like all the advantages he got was by being extremely slippery on the Blanc, and he was very smart about it, but it had very little to do with waves or any kind of pressure that way. I think he was just outplaying every gank that was done to him on side lane. I think he did it really well. I could potentially give it to him for MVP there. There's a part of me that actually low-key wants to give it to Wendell, because I feel like Wendell ended up countering a lot of potential damages. Like, Toaster was just out of that tier 2 fight on top lane, because Wendell was basically a huge threat on him. But I think Nita probably had the most impact overall. He had a really good counter pick. He built it terribly, and then he absolutely smurfed anyway. So I could see the logic.
I mean, a pre-20-minute Flame Horizon for Nilo was pretty impressive. He also absorbed like the first Nocturne, and like first Nocturne of the game is really big, right? It's really important. Yeah, I do a bit questionable to be honest to throw it topside from Zapdo's perspective. Like, that's not a lane you can ever do anything with. Even if you kill Nilla, it has zero impact on the trajectory of that game, right? So, but yeah, either way, like I just think I said in draft, like I felt like Verdant had a skill checking draft, right? They were just going to skill check Ruddy, and they skill check mated them. And it was pretty gross actually, and really well played from Verdant. They did showed us why they're the best team in the NLC.
What's kind of funny is that the opening plays that exploded the game were plays Ruddy opted into. Ruddy were the guys who tried to skip. Like, you try to do the dive against the all-in team on bot lane, you'd lose, and then you know those hamsters that we've trained to like not like cake or something because they just get electrocuted, right? After that, Zapdo's like, I guess I'm just gonna have a better time ganking a LeBlanc Fiora, why not, right? Like, and Ruddy just lost their way, and Verdant were like, great, brilliant, this path you've opened, we'll just steamroll all the way through it to your Nexus.
Gosh,
I mean,
now I know why he's banned from Pets at Home. He's not within 100 meters of any of those shops.
Not ones I personally trained, to be completely clear.
I see.
All right, while you guys brief on Veteran's pet status, I am going to talk to someone from Ruddy. So let's... Hello, Anonymous. Or should I say, hola? If you're saying anything, we cannot hear you. You might be muted.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Hola, como estás, amigo? Nice to see you.
Likewise.
What's up with...
So, I don't know, do you want to talk about the game? I feel like it was a bit of a rough one for your guys.
Listen, you know, stuff like this, it happens, to be honest with you. You know, we've got a big data protection center. We've got like a big grid, load of internet router boxes. And there's been some suspicious traffic coming in today, ever since the game started, especially towards my jungler. There's been a rumor that there was some tampering in this game. I don't know if you've heard the rumor that's been going around the NLC of Froomy time. Obviously, back in the days of Manchester United, you had Fergie time, which is when he was, you know, doing a little bit of that, get a bit of extra time. There's a bit of Froomy time that's been going around, and I think we've been anticipating what experts are calling more packets than a packet of crisps. To be honest, The McCoy's Airways have been coming into the Ruddy router today, unfortunately.
Okay, so no vamos a la playa for you guys today.
Vamos a la playa, ahora me le gusta bailar, arriba de las noches, as they say in Spain. They're known for saying that. I know that for a fact.
Yeah. So, are you guys gonna have you guys shut down for any incoming packets for tomorrow, and then you're gonna take on the victory?
Listen, you know, I'm not a troubleshooter, but what I do know is, when in doubt, switch it off, turn the batteries the other way around, and turn it back on. Do you know what I mean? We had an unfortunate day today. You know, Zapdo's taken a big shit and it's rolled down his leg. He's absolutely shat himself. These things happen. We'll just have to come back for the next time.
Let that be the closing note of this interview. Thank you so much.
I do want to say one more thing as well, though, to all the NLC bettors in chat. Just please shut up, keep it to yourself. No one cares. You're pricks. Anyway, thank you.
Muchas gracias.
Muchas, me le gusta, absolutely.
And with that very fantastic interview, we are going to talk to Dan Holt, who is a part of the coaching staff over at Verdant. Last time I interviewed you, I got your role wrong, so can you please introduce yourself to the viewers at home, just in case anyone were unaware who you are?
So I'm head coach at Verdant. I don't think you got my role wrong. I think you just got my history wrong. I mean, but no, you got my role right this time. Head coach. Yep. How you doing? You good?
Yeah, you're good. How are you, Dan?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. I was just listening to the Ruddy interview, and he was saying about time and Frumi time, and I think really the only time that's needed is this Ruddy team needs some more time cooking, because that wasn't it. You had the Master Yi first game, that didn't work. We had the Echo this time, that didn't work. We need some more time cooking.
Need to call off Chef Gordon, I suppose. But let's talk about this, right? Because I spoke to ATN last week, I believe, right, who was talking about the fact that you guys were hoping to get to play some more free drafts in terms of not being forced to play these super bot-centric compositions, like Nilla now playing strong side to a certain extent on the Fiora. Take us through how that really went through in the draft.
Yeah. Like I don't really do anything with the draft. It's all Harry, so you're better off talking to him with draft. But yeah, for sure, Nilla's a really talented guy. He can play the Ornn, the Scion, stuff like that, which we've already seen. And then you can also play the stuff like Fiora and Jax that you saw last split, and you saw what he can do second last split. And he's such a talented guy, and it's a pleasure having him on the team, being able to play both sides, and he'll happily do it, if he won't ego pick. If he thinks, okay, it's tank time, he'll pick tank. If he thinks, okay, give me the Fiora, I'll carry, he'll pick the Fiora. So yeah, it's always been there. We haven't played it so much so far this split, but like the meta's changed a little bit with the enchanters sort of dropping down in prio, and yeah, it's opened up the opportunity, which is really good to see.
So you said that you're not so much involved with drafts and stuff, right? So your role is more about the in-game workings of the team to a certain extent then.
Yeah. I mean, draft is a very small percentage, especially at this level, very small percentage of the game. There's a lot more that goes on in terms of how we play the game, what we're trying to do in the game, and that side of things. Harry has a big impact on that as well. It's definitely a team effort from both of us. But yeah, for sure, it's more on that side. And draft, I'll mention stuff if I see it, but it's mainly down to him. So when you see these really good drafts that we keep getting, it's all on him.
Love a bit of shared love all around the coaching staff here. So you guys went 2-0 last week, and are you guys going to go 2-0 this week as well?
Well, we're going to try. I mean, I think every team is trying to win, right? Like, I don't think...
Oh, we go... no, sorry. Hello? Sorry, yeah, we went onto the server today to lose. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, obviously. I don't know.
Get close, so we won't be getting that. Hopefully, obviously circumstances last week weren't good, and it was really disappointing to win like that. Like, no one wants that to happen. So hopefully this week can be a nice clean 2-0 with some really good games, and Nord. I think we've got Nord tomorrow, I believe, if I'm right. And obviously Nord, we lost against them last time. We know they've got a team that can beat us. They can pull out surprises, and they did last week. Last time they completely outclassed us, played much better than we did. So it's really important that this week we go into it and we play better, and we show that not only we can beat every team in the league, which we haven't done yet. So it'll be good to see.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time, Dan, and good luck tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
And with that, we're going to go on to a short break. But when we come back, we're going to have even more action from the NLC as Unique takes on Domino.